guys, welcome to another episode of the Real Football Talk. I have Cam with me. Cam, how are you in this beautiful Sunday
Don't even ask.
afternoon?
Don't even ask.
Huh?
But yeah, good man. How are you?
Reports are suggesting that you are very tired, didn't have any sleep, and so on and so forth.
Reports are suggesting it was an awful Saturday, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, let's get away from the miserable time that Cameron might be having. But let's go on to the games that we had this weekend. I mean, fantastic weekend. You got big win for Aston Villa, who won 6-1. Obviously, the comedy circus at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And then you got Man City, Wolves getting a win over Man City, who's lost their perfect running so far. So we'll get to all of them, but there is one place to start, and that's at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where what should we say? They've been robbed, violated. I don't
I
know.
think you've literally said both the
Sorry.
right. You said the both right things right there. Robbed and violated. It was a farce. It was an absolute joke. The officiating.
Yeah. But we'll what we'll do, Cam, yeah, we'll give the overall flow of the game, what you thought of it, and then we'll go in chronological order in terms of that happened, yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of the game, obviously, what did you make of it? The result 2-1, Spurs getting a win right at the death.
I don't really think they deserved it, but I mean, with 9v11, almost 8v10 on the pitch, besides goalkeepers, you know what I mean? Like it's hard, isn't it? Top professionals, you know what I mean? Like
if you didn't win, it'd have been embarrassing.
We nullified them as much as we could. At the end of the day, you know, Matip was solid all game. You can't fault it. He just literally flicked up onto his shin. If it hits the other side of his shin, it goes out for a corner. You know, unfortunately,
great finish though. Great finish.
Top bins. But what I'm saying is, you can't do anything about it, man. Like, we didn't deserve to lose.
Yeah.
If anything, I think before any of the red cards and any of the controversy that happened, I think we deserve to win. Even with the first red card, I think we were still the better team because we were now having to hold back and play on the counter. You know, we will go one goal up if that offside's not given. So it's one of those things where I think even with 10 men, I'm so confident with this Liverpool side at the moment. Before going into the game, I knew we'd be too much for Spurs. And I think the first 15, 20 minutes showed that although it was a tight affair and there was both teams attacking, I think we looked stronger out of the two. But yeah, I think the game was taken away from us more than it was we gave it away. You know, I don't think Liverpool could have done anything more than we did. Do you know what I mean? It should have ended in a draw with the way the game went. But I guess Spurs were just lucky to get the win.
But yeah, I mean, obviously Spurs, good win for them. Obviously, keeps their unbeaten run going. But obviously there was one point, you know, like obviously I think it was added on 6 minutes or something added on, and I swear to you, I just didn't feel like they're gonna get a goal because they were just being stupid in terms of just running into where the Liverpool players are congregated in the box. Like they had 5 at the back. Instead of Kuleveski and Solomon just staying out wide, dragging them out, or having a bit of play in that kind of edges, they kept running into them straight away. And I'm like, you're just playing into Liverpool's hand. All you're doing is going there and crossing it. And Van Dijk, Matip, and Konate is just going to eat them up. It was just silly. It's like they almost run out of ideas. But
I think that's exactly what happened, isn't it? They were just playing through the middle and they didn't really stretch us, which helped us because at one point when you saw the formation, it was literally just 4-4. You know, there wasn't much else we could do. You know, and we were hoping just to try and run it off to the other side of the pitch, try and get the game away from our box. But how much can you do when you're
of course, 100%. There isn't much you can do. So let's look at these events that's happened, obviously. So firstly, the red card. What did you think the Jones red card? Did you think it was a red card?
Soft, man. Too soft. Soft in the sense that he went over the ball and he's hit him, but it's not malicious. It wasn't no intent to, like, it wasn't like it was one of those 50-50s where he's gone in hard and rash. It was literally just slipped over the ball type of thing. He went to control the ball.
But and
even the freeze frame they decided to show it in, and then the slow-mo and the angle that they showed it in, I just knew. As soon as I saw him go to the screen, I thought, this is it. It's a red card.
I mean, when 90% of the time when he goes to the screen, it's getting reverted, right? But
Yeah.
like if you like, I don't know, you both, we played football, right?
Yeah.
The way he went for the ball, he obviously, the pitch is slippery, etc. He slips over the ball, and because he slips over the ball, it goes and makes it look worse than he actually
that's
is.
what I'm saying,
You know what
though.
I mean?
Like,
So surely there needs to be a bit of common sense that, you know what, it's not like Jones is out of control. I get it; it's a dangerous tackle, because if you look at the angle of the way he goes, of course it's dangerous, because if his foot was planted, that's breaking his leg. But there was no real malice. I think they should have looked at it in the sense that he's gone over the ball, and because of that, and yellow card. Like, I don't think Tottenham fans complain if he was given a yellow card. I don't
that's
think.
something. Even I thought at the time, probably not yellow, but if he gave a yellow, it's like, all right, fine, it's a yellow because of the. But then to go back and then give a red, I thought that's ridiculous. And you know what it is? It's like you said, we play football. I've had that tackle done to me. I've done that type of tackle on other people, because it's one of those where you've controlled the ball, but you try to put your body across as well to shield it, and then you've ended up stepping on someone who've hit someone. It's so small. And when you slow it down like that, that's what I'm saying. When you slow it down like that, it makes it look worse. Like, we don't even play at the intensity that they do, right? But you felt those ones, but because you know the way the impact's been, it's never been like a leg breaker. It's just more been like an impact hit. So that's what you say. The common sense should have taken place there, and I don't know how.
Do you know what's a good question is that, like, obviously these referees only show angles that is there anything in place where maybe there's a system of how they show it. They show it in real time, and then they show because all it did was, as the referee's walking up to you, and you can see on the TV screen, right? All you can see is that picture of Jones's leg going, Bissouma's leg, right? So it's almost like he's already been told that, it's a leg breaker, like as he's walking up to the screen. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure they're obviously conversing in the background. So yeah, it's a strange. I don't know whether they have this there's a system in place where systematically there's different things or different scenarios you show. So like the first one in real speed you show, and then you show the different angles depending on obviously the situation.
The only thing I had about that was VAR now is getting confusing. Are you trying to revert mistakes? Are you trying to rectify obvious mistakes, which is what it was brought in for? Now, would you say that yellow card was an obvious mistake that the refs made? I don't think so. So what is there to send him to the screen for, to then look at it again?
But obviously the VAR ref thinks he made a mistake by giving a yellow card. It should be that's the thought process I'm thinking.
Yeah. But soon as he's in his ear saying it should be a red card, and then he's looking at the angle, especially like you said, like that freeze frame doesn't look good. No. If you freeze at any angle, I mean, Twitter refs do it all the time. They will show certain pictures of an incident on a football match, but then you watch the whole clip, you think, well, actually, he got the ball first.
That's nonsense.
But just what I'm saying, yeah, like you watch the whole clip and you think it's not shaping up to the picture and the freeze frame that you've just shown. No. And that's exactly what happened with the Jones, tackle. It wasn't malicious. Yellow card you can take on the chin, but that red card was absolutely.
But ridiculous. Do you know what? One thing I did think, though, even though that red card happened, I think it kind of also suited Liverpool, because I don't know, Salah up front is just a menace, and obviously, and that proved to be the point, because if you look at the goal that was disallowed, we'll come to the next problem with the VAR and refereeing. Salah plays the ball through to Diaz, who was clearly onside, and even you can look at it from without any lines drawn. You can see it's clearly.
You don't need the lines to see that's onside.
Yeah, but obviously, you want the lines, right? That's what it's brought in for, just to double make sure. And he goes on and brilliant finish, but again, that was disallowed because the PGMO statement, human error, and the lines weren't drawn. Or now they're saying the lines were drawn, but they already decided to go with the on. It's a total mess. What did you make of it? Because I'm just confused with everything. Because
they tried to justify it by saying they thought the on-field decision was a goal, right? That's why they just called over and said, yeah, check complete. Cool, fine.
Yeah,
you made a mistake. You thought it was a goal. Now you've had 2 throw-ins. Essentially, the game has reset. You're watching the match, by the way, on VAR. soon as they're taking a free kick, an offside free kick, you should think, wait, hold on, no,
What's
that's not
going
the
on? Yeah, that's
call. It
wrong.
was a
Yeah.
goal. You know, before you
You have
might
to,
have
you
the
have to
manager
speak.
put the
You
arms
have
up
to
and be
speak.
like, oh,
Yeah.
what's going on? But then they'll look back and think, okay, oh, it was a goal. You know what I mean? They can be as biased as they want. They'll see that it was a goal. It was rightfully a goal. So it just didn't make any sense. They just didn't call it back. There was 2 minutes between then and Son scoring. And at any point at that time, there was about 3 different stops. And
No, but
they could have
forget the
called it
three
back and said
different
that was a
stops,
goal.
Cam. Forget even the 3 different stops. As soon as you, the team, the VAR assistants, right? As soon as you see it, you thought, okay, the on-field have given a goal. Fine, perfectly understand. As soon as you see the ball's not going to the center circle, but instead it's getting taken as an offside, that's it. All you need to do, whether it's the assistant guy of the VAR or the guys,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Stop. Hold on for another second. What are you doing? It should be a goal.
It's just a
That's
goal.
all
It's
it
a
takes.
goal.
That's all
That's
it
what I'm
takes.
saying. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. The justification is complete lie. There's 3 people in VAR, and you've got the 3 that's happening in the VAR. They've just made one mistake and be like, oh, all right, because we didn't award the goal, we're just going to stick by it. It's a lie. They're just trying to cover their own backs, but they're not realizing that the lies are getting unfolded right in front of them. It was just a joke. It was a joke of a decision.
And the statements coming out just it doesn't answer anything either. Yeah. It's just incredible because you had a similar situation last year. I don't know if you remember Arsenal versus
Arsenal,
Brentford.
Saka.
Where Brentford scored, but there was no line drawn. And it seems to be constantly happening. We brought in VAR. The whole purpose of bringing in VAR is to stop things like that. Stop mistakes of, like, say, for instance, linesmen putting the flag up, or this scenario. This scenario is a
They
prime
pick and
example.
choose when it suits them, isn't it?
Well, I mean, especially with Spurs. I don't know if you remember the other game. And there's so many games to reference, right? Because we've mentioned this previously. Me and Adil have previously mentioned this in the Real Football Talk previously about the amount of things that Spurs get. It always seems to be Spurs that get away with it. Because last year, I don't know if you've seen the game against Brighton. I think Brighton had 2 goals disallowed. There was so many red card scenarios that weren't looked at. And it just seems like if it's Spurs, you can get away with murder.
Yeah, but it happened with Spurs and Liverpool last year. Kane on Robertson, red card, and he was a slide tackle, hit his heels, studs up, yeah. Similar thing happened, again, Diaz, he's the one that got struck just the same way Jones did with the ball. He went over the ball and then he struck Diaz.
I think I remember that one vaguely.
Yeah. So those 2 incidents happened, Tottenham, Liverpool. None of those were awarded a red card. So it's one of those where I don't know if it's a Spurs thing or if it's a VAR thing, and I think there's certain teams, and I think
I get in favour.
It's weird, like Arsenal, Liverpool at the moment. It just feels as if there's some sort of
agenda.
The agenda.
It feels like an agenda, innit? Because it's the same thing. Like if you look at all other managers, be very passionate, etc., or they're celebrating like mad. It's like everything is fine. But if Arsenal were to do so, or if Mikel Arteta was
being fined every week,
it's always getting highlighted by the media. It's always thrown up. Oh, what is he doing? He's so unprofessional. Spurs celebrated that win like they've won the Champions League.
Yeah, they literally.
But do
the
you
way
hear
they celebrated yesterday, you'd think as if they deserve to win that game.
But do you hear anything? Do you hear anything? Any noise? No, nothing. But Arsenal were to do it. Bravis, it's on the news, breaking news.
It's the difference between a big club and a small club at the end of the day, isn't it?
I'm telling you, it's an absolute joke. But back to Liverpool. Obviously, goal gets disallowed. Then
Son goes and scores.
Brilliant goal. And then obviously Liverpool come back 1-1.
Yeah.
And then obviously we have the situation with Diego Jota. Now, what did you make of it? Should he have got a yellow card or sorry?
The second offense was definitely a yellow card.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing in the retrospect, well, he was already awarded a yellow. That second one was definitely a second yellow.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one wasn't a yellow. It was literally they were running. He obviously wasn't committing a foul. Mm. His knee flicked his heel, but it was in the stride of running. You can't look at that and think there was any, interjection. There was no movement to try and stop that run. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know how you award that first yellow. But look, fair enough. If if Jota, it was Jota's mistake for diving into that second tackle.
That's what I
But,
was gonna say. Yeah, that's
you
what
know
I
what I
was
mean?
gonna
It's
say.
his fault
It's
for diving into the second.
he
Even
for
if it was
doing
the
that.
softest of touch and he knew that he was going to go down, right? At the end of the day, you see Jota's on a yellow, anyone's going to go down, especially if it's slid in like that, because he's
Yeah,
lost the ball there.
100%. You're
Do you know
gonna
what I
play
mean?
it.
So it's completely his fault for the red card. But the reason I think we're hard done by in that situation is because the first one wasn't a yellow. So that should have been his yellow. Do you know what I mean? Because that offense was definitely
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I think? So before that counter attack, and Jota's obviously knee touched the he was running, man. Whoever it was. But before that, Jota made another tackle where I thought, maybe he could have got a yellow card for that. And then obviously this play happened. So I'm thinking the referee's thinking, I'll let you go for that one. This is another counter attack you're breaking up. Okay, I'm gonna give you a yellow. Does that make sense? So
yeah, that's why I think usually refs do that
I'm
with an
thinking
accumulation
totting up,
of
right? Because you're stopped two counter attacks now. So I'm thinking, okay, that makes sense. And then Jota goes and does that silly tackle. I'm like, what are you doing? And even since he came on, I don't know. There's something just didn't feel right with Jota. I was like,
He was a bit erratic, but I could see that he had
yeah.
The reason I knew why he brought Jota in is obviously Gakpo's goes off injured, and between any of our attackers there, between Gakpo, Nunes, and Jota is someone who's very good at that defensive work. He does track back, he does get the tackles 100%. In. He's very good at pressing. So I could completely understand why they brought Jota in. But again, I know which first incident you're talking about, and there was a lot of incidents in that game where Liverpool getting yellow. So I genuinely thought that first incident he would have got yellow, but he didn't get yellow.
Yeah.
But doesn't justify that counter attack being a yellow either. Just because you let
but you get my point. What I'm thinking in terms of the referee's thought process.
No, but this is what I'm saying. If it was an accumulation of bad tackles and now he's finally given the yellow, that's one thing. But it was one bad tackle, you didn't give the yellow. The second one was never a yellow then. If we're talking about as if that's the second. So his first yellow was never a yellow. Yeah. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
But I mean,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I think we're hard done by with the two.
Yeah, they go down to 9 man, and then obviously Klopp makes some brilliant substitution to go 5 at the back and then 3 in the middle. And then what it seemed like is Tottenham running out of ideas until the very last moment, the last cross from Pedro.
Still had no idea. They were whipping
the first time where instead of going inside, because what Pedro Porro and Undugi kept doing is leaving Solomon and Tector out wide and tucking in, so coming into the midfielders, and it didn't create any overload. But for the first time within that last 10-15 minutes, Pedro Porro goes on the outside, Kuleveski plays the ball, and obviously so unfortunate for Matip, who sticks a leg out and he goes top corner, and Tottenham get that goal. I mean, there is nothing else to say apart from, at least Liverpool could take that. They were hard done. They performed out of their skin, and it's just one of those games that's just gonna have to move on.
I think as a Liverpool fan, I think you kind of watch that game and you think, wow, we have a team here, man. Because last year, even if we were down to 10 men, we don't get a result like that. We don't put a fight in like that. Like if I, as a Liverpool fan now watching that game with 9 men and the way we held out, like literally all it was 20 seconds. If he intercepts it a bit better, or if it goes out for a corner, then we deal with it. We finish that game with a draw. Do you know what I mean? And then you leave a bit, as a Liverpool fan, you leave a bit of relief. The goal going in kind of just it drains the game. At the end of the day, I think when we had everyone on the pitch, and even with 10 men, we were the better team. And then with 9 men, I think we did everything that we had to do to see out that game, and we did it to perfection almost. You know what I mean? I think the own goal kind of just kind of shows where Tottenham couldn't even get their tactics right against a 9-man Liverpool side.
I think Liverpool, and I don't think they'll lose any confidence over that, because they'll know it might.
Yeah, so it wasn't a poor performance. It wasn't a poor performance.
It might do the exact opposite in terms of when you go get done over by like that, it might actually unite the group even more and build that like togetherness even more. That it's us against the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what it feels like.
It might give them more boost than actually obviously the thing. So I think in any side, obviously positive for Tottenham because they obviously got the 3 points, they got it done. But also from Liverpool perspective, if you look at it, I think it's still a positive. You take a lot of positive out.
Yeah, there's a lot of positives. Yeah, you're right in that. There's a lot of positives we take from it. The only other positives we could have taken was a point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than that, I think you're completely right. I think it shows that this Liverpool side, they're a different side from last year. And I did call it at the start of the season just because it felt like there's a new sense of togetherness around the camp. And I was saying this from pre-season, the unity in that group feels a lot different to last year. And yeah, I was just very optimistic. And I think this game kind of showed that. And it showed that what you said, like, it's us against the world type of thing. I think that mentality will really, really harden them.
It'll build the team together. But Cam, we talked a lot about Liverpool. Just quickly on Tottenham. I mean, what do you think of them? Do you think? I mean, obviously they're sit in second place. Angie's obviously just started this year. I mean, it's looking really good for them.
I think they're gonna be a top side, but I don't think they're at the level of Arsenal, City, or Liverpool yet, because I think that performance kind of outlined, even though they won, I think kind of outlined that there is a bit more to go before they might crack top four. They might crack top four, but they're not going to be a title charge.
I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see, because you got to realize a lot of their players or the first team are the 11s all staying fit. So they got a strong base of like no real movement, etc. If you look at, say, for instance, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, United, they're all losing players left, right, key players in key areas. So they're not as stable as, say, for instance, as Tottenham is. So I don't know, but I think when it comes,
I did say Tottenham's the stronger side without Kane.
Yeah.
Now, they moved away from having a main focus as a striker. I think more team. There's more of a team now with Tottenham compared to focusing on one player.
But what I was saying as I was finishing up, I think when it comes to about December, I'd really find out where they are, because I think when they start having consistent games, 2 games a week, I think they might not have the squad depth and the squad to obviously continue this. And I want to see how they react when obviously confidence is high now, right? What happens when they go in, draw 2 games and lose 1? That's when it'll be seen, right?
Yeah.
Because
that's if they do. And like I said, I don't see Tottenham being title contenders. They might make it into the top 4, and I think they're a good enough side watching them to be in the top 4. But yeah, I just think between City, Arsenal, and Liverpool, I don't think they've just got that cutting edge just yet.
No, definitely not. No, the squad. But talking of City, obviously, who went away to the Molineux and lost 2-1. I mean, what did you make of it? Because I mean, Wolves, I mean, you have to give them credit, man. They defended like mad. There was the first opportunity they really had, Man City, and Craig Dawson somehow nicked the ball away. I mean, wow.
Immense.
But fantastic win for them, right? Because if you look at Wolves' performances recently, they've been performing really well. If you look at the Liverpool game, the United game, all the games I've seen so far, they've performed really well, but just didn't finish off the chances that they had.
They are a good side. And I think obviously there was skepticism before the start of the season because of the way that their preseason went and the way that they kind of ended the season last year. But I think you can see they're a good side. They've got good players there. They made some good recruitments. I mean, I was kind of surprised by the result. I mean, every time City play, you kind of expect them to win. But then obviously when you lose certain players in Rodri, and I know De Bruyne has been out all season, but there's certain times where you need that spark of creativity or a match winner, and I don't think they really had that there. I don't think Kovacic had a great game. He lost the ball a few times. I think him losing the ball led to their first goal. But I mean, what a run! You can't even take.
You have to give credit, and Pedro Neto. To be honest, the whole season, Cam, he's been on fire because
he's been great.
Everything that's good, even against Liverpool, right? If you remember that first half, he was sensational.
He was crazy. It was crazy, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I know Kovacic lost the ball, but from that point to the time they scored, a lot could have been done. A lot could have been done. So give credit to Wolves because they have that.
Again, the clearance from Akanji. We praise Man City so much, right? But again, Ake, he should have been doing better, because how is he letting Pedro Neto go past him so easy?
Oh, the pace outdone him there.
Oh yeah, obviously, and then the cross. I know it gets a deflection initially, the cross, but you should be doing better in terms of the clearance. How are you just knocking it down? it has to go clear. Akanji, I'm sorry, that was
Yeah,
poor.
even if you have to adjust your body slightly to kick
Yeah,
out for a
yeah.
corner, or so, I don't know. There was more that they could have done defending that whole situation.
But I mean, and then obviously they get one back through Alvarez. I mean, sensational free kick.
You kind of knew it was going in, innit?
This is the thing about him. Like, obviously we're saying De Bruyne missing and that spark. I think obviously Rodri is the bigger miss, but in terms of filling in, I think he's been superb. Every game he's either assisting the first goal or scoring the first goal or at least some influence in there. So I think he's doing really good. But then obviously the Korean, what did the Pep Guardiola, the Korean guy,
the Korean guy, yeah, the Korean guy won it for them.
The Korean guy gets the goal and wins the game for them. And now I'm sure Guardiola will know his name.
Yeah, well, he better know him. You know what I mean? I think it's a bit disrespectful, but I do think he just forgot it in the spot. And then
sometimes it happens. Mind goes blank.
You know what I mean? His mind just went blank. And I don't think he meant to be disrespectful, but obviously everything's taken out of context.
Yeah. But you have to have a bit of banter, innit? That's what.
No, that's exactly what it is. So now it's gonna be kind of, spat back on his face because obviously the way he kind of said it, innit? It was almost like dismissive of their front three.
I want Pep Guardiola to say the Japanese guy or the Brazilian guy or something for next week's press conference.
Right.
But might help us a bit,
I think Arsenal have a strong chance if they are able to not copy Wolves' tactics in the sense, but almost outrun and outplay City and nullify that.
Well, I mean, we'll get to that. But what I was gonna say is, Cam, City. I mean, that's two losses in this week. They lost in the Carabao Cup. Again,
that's not really that deep though.
I mean, for City,
they love that cup.
No, I'm just saying because that's two, right? It's building up, right? It's two. Then you got a Champions League game, and then you got Arsenal, right? So obviously, you're missing Rodri, and it seems like it's nothing's working.
With the money they've spent, if you're saying you lose Rodri and you can't go and win against Wolves, I'm sorry, I don't feel sorry for you. Like Chelsea's predicament right now, I don't feel sorry for you. The money you guys have spent, if you can't win a game, that's your business.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, Rodri is the best midfielder in the league. No one's disputing that, but it's the fact that you've got the players in place there, and you're saying you can't beat Wolves. It's not that Wolves are a bad team. It's just you're Man City at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? You should be. You should be beating Wolves.
They had loads of chances. They created loads of opportunities, but nothing really clear cut that I can remember watching the game.
They literally nullified those balls going into Haaland because if anything, he was the main threat, and they nullified him to a T.
Yeah, and I think Wolves were very smart in terms of obviously off the ball. What they did kind of went back to like a 5 and a 3.
Yeah.
And obviously cramped the whole area out. And then on the ball, what they allowed is they just said to Hee-Chan-Wan,
run. They said run.
Neto and Cunha, they just said, you guys have the freedom because we'll back you. You just go and do what you want. And that's how they get both the goals, obviously. But yeah, it makes the whole league and everybody else, gives everybody else a bit more optimism because obviously it puts everybody in the mix because they were in a perfect run, right? So now all of a sudden they're on 18 points. Spurs 17, Arsenal 17, Liverpool 16. I'm not going to count Aston Villa, etc., because 16. I don't think they fall in that same category.
They're just having a really good run of games. They still have a good run of games, but as the season grows on, they won't be.
Yeah.
They'll be in the top 7, maybe top 8. No. But I completely get what you're trying to say.
Let's move on. I mean, Arsenal 4-0 win at Bournemouth. I mean, Bournemouth didn't really turn up. I didn't think. I mean, there weren't really much chances or anything, and obviously Arsenal. Havertz finally scores. Gift to him.
Yeah. You know what's funny? You guys, it's like you don't know who's taking your penalties, isn't it?
No, we do. So no. So what is the main person that's taking the penalty? Every penalty is Saka.
Yeah, that's what happened. But then Odegaard took your penalties.
No. So no. If you saw between him and Odegaard, they have this thing. I think whatever they've decided before the game is that if there's a penalty, this person will take it because Saka's recently missed, I think, 3 in a row before he obviously scored his other one. So I think after that, they obviously made, I think, depending on the game and how they're feeling, etc., either one of them take it. So because it's not like a sequence of Odegaard takes today, the next penalty like Saka takes. It's not like that. So it's basically Saka's the main guy. If he wants to take it, he takes it. If he doesn't want to, he gives it to Odegaard. Odegaard's the next in line. So I think that's because the last two Saka took and he scored. And this one, obviously, Odegaard, he gave it to Odegaard. So I think that's what it is. But I mean, 4-0 win. I mean, there wasn't much that happened. I think it was quite comfortable. We did have a lot of.
It was one of those games where it became cruise control for Arsenal, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just felt like a very comfortable win, and I think Arsenal needed it because you could tell like some of the players are tiring out, some injuries are creeping in.
There was loads of injuries.
Yeah, because there was a point where like Arteta wasn't even sure who he would field. Obviously Saka, he recovered in time.
Well, I mean, we had doubts about Saka, Declan Rice, and William Saliba for this week.
That's what I'm saying. Like the three
at the last training session that they've done.
Kind of rely on a lot.
Sorry, Cam, you broke up.
Because with Rice who's coming, he's kind of solidified your midfield a lot more, and Saliba is a big miss if he was not in that defense. So 100%. when that's that worry that you might miss out on them, it's worried. But again, I think they needed a game like this where it was basically cruise control. I don't think they ever had to go full throttle.
And it was needed because obviously then when it goes 2-0, 3-0, you can take off Saka, Rice, etc., and give them that breather. Because obviously they got Champions League game coming up as well. And the last 5 games, if you look at it, all of the games were either like 1-0 or it was still in the balance, etc. So you couldn't take off your key players.
It was hard fought.
Yeah. I think that was much needed. But it's still long way to go. I think long way to go because if you look at it, one win or loss from any of those teams, all of a sudden it feels like it's back to square one again for everybody.
Because the top of the table right now is tight, and at the end of the day, it's going to be down to because obviously right now Arsenal and City have the more, I would say, the harder runs between all the other kind of top 6 teams. And in a sense, it will shape the league table for now. But then it will come a point where United and Liverpool will have a harder run of games, and then Arsenal and City will have a bit of comfortable running. So depending on how the league runs, it will be an interesting. I'm hoping this year the league's a lot tighter.
Well, you guys got what? Brighton and Everton in the next 2 games, and then you guys got you got City coming up as well. Oh, actually, maybe not. Maybe not. I think everyone's got slightly. I think Man City's got the harder fixtures.
That's what I'm saying. It's
if anything, but you know what the thing with City is, they always turn up in the hard games, man. I don't know how they always. You think they might have a problem or issue. They always just like last year. I thought, between the January to March period, they had quite a few difficult. Like they had to go to Chelsea, Liverpool, etc., so on and so forth. And they just
they're so good. Just picking up wins after wins. Yeah.
It's like you need more Wolves. We need more Wolves.
I'm saying, like soon as the pressure piled on.
Yeah.
Soon as the pressure piled on, it's like City went up another gear, and it's just that they were relentless, and they just won the league ahead of time essentially. When from the start of the season it looked closer than it was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, City. So
that's what I'm saying.
City got Arsenal.
I think City's got the hardest runs. I know Liverpool's got Brighton, but I think with the way that this week went, I think Liverpool are gonna be on one.
Yeah.
And I'm like I said, I think I'm just kind of confident with any game now. Liverpool are gonna win. I'm on that mentality right now. I think we're kind of like, I'm not gonna say we're back, but that mentality that Liverpool had about never not like they don't lose. You know what I mean? They just keep fighting, even if they have to scrape a draw. Yeah. That's what it is.
That man, City got Arsenal, Brighton, United away, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, Aston Villa away. I mean, until December.
Yeah, they've got a hard run.
Every week they've got they got a struggle. I think Aston Villa one would be really interesting to watch. I like Aston Villa 6-1 win against Brighton, by the way. So.
I think the Villa game will be interesting. I think they will dispatch Chelsea, but Chelsea will know how to turn up against a big team. So we'll see.
Yeah, let's see. But I mean, let's look at next week's obviously game against Arsenal, see how that goes. But I think they'll smash us. But next team, United.
Never optimistic as an Arsenal fan.
No, no. Do you know what it is? Not against City, man. City just know how to beat us, man. They just know. They will play rubbish for the whole game. They'll beat us 3-0. Or we'll get, I don't know,
it's one of those
holding sent
it's
off,
one
or
of those
Xhaka sent
affairs
off, or
like
somebody sent off.
Arsenal keep improving, but City still win.
Yeah, literally.
But what I'm saying, Arsenal keep improving, but City still win. It's just one of those things. Like City, they have. I don't know if he just knows how to deal with Arteta, how to deal with his tactics.
Or maybe Arteta over.
City just know how to beat Arsenal.
Come on, there's no Rodri. Come on, we got hope, and no De Bruyne to score.
Yeah, maybe
we got hope. We got hope. There is hope.
That's what I'm saying. I think with no Rodri, I think you guys have a bit more hope in that game than usual.
They're still deadly, man. They're still deadly. Let's move on. I mean, United. I was getting to one in the Carabao Cup against Crystal Palace, 3-0, comfortable, and then come to Saturday against Crystal Palace again and end up losing. How does that happen? I think I've lost you, Cam.
Oh, I just need to shout out, that Adil was making a big point last time Arsenal lost the game and you weren't missing. Yeah, so I mean, I wonder where he is today. United lost and he disappeared. I'm just wondering where
I had a valid reason for not being there. Yeah. No, actually, wait. You're saying he called me out. I was there for the video. I was there. It wasn't even a loss. We haven't lost a game yet. It was the draw against Tottenham. I was there.
No, I'm talking about. I'll talk about one of our first videos of the season.
I can't remember. Okay, but yeah, for whatever reason,
I think you guys drew or lost, and you weren't there. It was just me and him, and he was calling you out. But the game.
I mean, there's no point of calling out because they lose every week. So what's the point of calling him out? He doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
Every other week. They lose every other week now.
Every other week. What's the point?
Worst start to a Premier League season for how many years now?
God knows. I've lost count.
But I think the midweek game gave United a bit of false hope. I think it gave United fans a bit of false hope, but I also think it gave football fans a bit of false hope because I think now they've won 2 on the trot, and you think, all right, cool, maybe things are gonna click back into gear, and then Crystal Palace come and they get a 1-0 win, and it was at Old Trafford, so it's different if you're away, but it was at Old Trafford, so yeah, it's not looking good for United.
No, but I mean, it just feels very disjointed, that attack, and again, they're doing similar thing of just keep hitting the ball to what's his name, to Rashford, and I think again Rashford was awful yesterday. All the time trying to dribble every single time instead of looking for the pass. You got the striker. There's I think so many occasions where Højlund makes a great run, but that he doesn't receive the ball. And rightfully he was taken off. And then obviously when Garnacho came on, etc., they looked a bit more of a threat.
Yeah, they were more threatening with Garnacho than they were with Rashford. I don't know if Rashford's just because he always seemed like every year I'm never like in like awe of his talents because I think there's so many times where he's great, but then there's also many games like this where his decision making is just so poor. He's always going for the glory.
Perfect explanation to that, Cam, is what we spoke about before, is that with Rashford, he's a very instinct player. So if you look at from his finishing to the way he played, everything is based on instinct. If there's any moments where he has to think or make a decision, forget about it. It's the wrong decision being made.
I still remember Rashford. I still remember United versus Liverpool. This was like COVID times. Cavani it was a great counter attack, by the way, and Rashford had Cavani. It was like a 2v2. And he tried to dribble through when he could have played Cavani through. And, as Liverpool, I was looking at that and I just remember it thinking, I'm so glad he did that because he ruined, it was a 0-0. It was 0-0 at the time and he ruined the perfectly good opportunity. And I think he continues to do this,
Yeah.
And you kind of look at United. I mean, they seem to play better without him midweek. You know what I mean? Their team wasn't exactly weak in midweek during the Carabao Cup, so it was it was interesting. He come back into the team, and I think they look a bit disjointed.
Would Ten Hag be under pressure because considering, I mean, they've played 7 games, lost 4 already, only won 3. That's concerning because we only 7 games. There's still 31 games to go. It's not like they're going to go in a 31 game unbeaten run. They might do, but I doubt it very much.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those where United fans are having to adjust their expectations and become a fight for top four team at the moment, which is strange because I think off of the back of last year, you think you finished already in the top four. You already had a good team nearabouts where all you had to do was now maybe get a few players in. They got a good striker in Hoyland, you know, but they've seemed to go on backwards. And but they've got injuries, so they're not in a perfect world at the moment.
No.
But you know what I mean? With it, the play style hasn't seemed to improve since
No.
last year.
But is
It's
the
one thing
manager
having
under
injuries.
pressure, Cam? Is my question. Do you reckon the fans are going to turn on him because obviously clearly
I don't know. I don't know. I think he can justify some of the results based on injuries that have occurred, and I don't know, like even like the Wolves game, that could have ended in a draw if the Wolves was a penalty. So if you have to kind of look at the results and think he's actually had a really bad start, so it's hard to tell because I think he can justify saying that he's got a lot of injuries, but when you look at the way United are playing, they were getting booed.
They still have, but
when
this
the
is the
game
thing. They still
finished.
have
So
enough players there to
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
play the type of
It's a weird one. The quality that they're still putting onto the pitch is good enough to win games. So it's strange. I
So
think
then manager has to
he
take
probably will
then
be.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
manager
he
has to
probably
take
will be under
responsibility.
pressure, but I don't know if he will from the board. I don't know if the owners will actually put pressure on him. That's the thing. I think he should be maybe because I think the quality that he's still bringing onto the pitch is enough to win games. But yeah,
Crisis. Long may it continue. Adio, I'm telling you, you should have been here to back your team up, but I'm gonna gun him.
he will probably gun for them as well. He seems fed up.
This is why we needed him. He would have gunned him. Probably more than us. We're trying to put a positive
Yeah,
spin on it,
we're trying to be like neutral. He'll probably have something to rant about.
But he bottled it like United. But yeah, next team to talk about, obviously, Luton, who get a 2-1 win at relegation battlers. Everton, I mean, up the Football League we go.
I'm gonna eat my words, aren't I? I'm gonna
You're
have to
gonna
eat
eat
my
your words. So
words.
Cam made a promise in the last video that he will, if Luton get 20 points, he'll take me to Novikov. So that's what 16 more points to go.
More than 20. If they stop at 20 and they don't get more than 20,
hello,
you're not getting anything.
you're taking me, mate.
I said they're not getting any. They're not getting more than 20 points. If they get more than 20, then you
you
get
can't
it.
go back on it now.
I'm not going back on my word. I said it as I said it. If they get more than 20, if they get 20, I was right.
Carlton Morris obviously gets the second goal. First one by Lockyer. I mean, very fortunate, but he obviously reads the clearance and then obviously gets the blocking and he goes in. What did you make of it? I mean,
big shout out to everyone who captained him because of a double game week because he's coming good, isn't it? Compared to like captaining Haaland.
Yeah, I mean, we all messed up in that one. Yeah.
But yeah, no, he had a really good game. I think maybe Luton are finding their feet a bit more now, in comparison to the likes of Burnley. Everton, again, we did say that they're gonna be in and around the relegation zone. But I mean, this is looking worrying.
No, but do you know what the thing
is? They're creating chances. They're just not finishing.
But that's it. So they before Luton go 1-0 up, they actually had two really good chances. And obviously, if they score those two, it's game over. But they don't. And obviously, Luton go and score the first and second, and all of a sudden, Luton are one of those teams. Once they go 1-0 up or 2-0 up, it's just defending and hitting on counter, and it suits exactly what they want to do. And then obviously the onus is on Everton. They did get a goal back, but I mean, Luton hold on for the win. But I think it's been a long time coming because if you look at the performance, I think even the game against Brighton when the first game, there was loads of positive. Most of the games we've been losing after about 70 odd minutes where the other team goes and scores 2 or 3 because obviously we're trying to get that goal, right? And a bit more naivety. So their development has been good. They've become more solid, and I think slowly the players are getting used to it a bit more. So yeah, this is going to be awesome for their confidence and their belief, because I know a lot of pundits out there that have said Luton won't even get a point. or
A
won't even
point.
get
Okay, that's ridiculous.
or a win. Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard it
that's
on
ridiculous.
I heard it
Yeah.
on Talk Sport that they've got a bet or something somewhere. Well, I can't remember who it was.
That's ridiculous.
But
I know, like Luton's.
they
If
thought they
anything,
won't even get a point.
it's a proud story for Luton Town if you think about it, because of how quickly they've been promoted through the leagues. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, you should be celebrating that they've made it into the Premier League. But it's kind of my impression, obviously, of Luton is that they're not ready for the Prem yet, and I think it's what you were
100% no.
saying.
Everybody knows that.
What you were
Even
saying before the season even started, that I think they're recruiting more. So if they do go down, then they're ready to come straight back up, and they're building those foundations now. But the statement about 20 points wasn't more about the performance. It's more about they just didn't seem like they could finish, and they looked like every time another team would go forward, they're more likely to concede than they are to score. And even with the Everton game, there were times where if Everton just hit the target, they might have just lost that game.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So any other team going to Luton or
But
Luton,
we've also been robbed. We've also been robbed because if you look at the West Ham game last minute, it was 2-1. I think who was a Ward-Prowse or someone handballs in VAR don't give us the penalty, even though it's clear and obvious.
Yeah, that could have been a draw, but again, it's one of those contentious handballs, isn't it? Because now VAR's in question for everything, because it's not just the offside. Because you know what it was with the other decisions, it was still officials behind the screen coming to a consensus whether it's a handball or a penalty or a foul. But offside was meant to be objective, so now
that's the thing. So
the whole VAR is in question.
But there is a system out there, and this is the thing, right? If you
World
watch
Cup.
the World Cup, right, there was a semi-automatic offside system in place.
Yeah, but
we're the biggest league in the we're the biggest league in the world. Yeah, we have the most money out of anybody
That's
apart from Saudi. You knew it was coming, innit? You knew it was coming. Yeah, we have the most money out of anybody. You're telling me we can't implement the systems? Why?
No, they rejected it.
Why?
They were offered it. They rejected it.
Yeah.
So they could have control over doing it. And it goes to show why do you need that much control?
Why is that there? Why is it not automated if it can be? That should be the system put into place.
I'm sure there's a lot of games, fine margins, those fine margin offsides. I'm sure if it was semi-automatic, you might have seen a different result. I'm sure of it.
It's worth, obviously, I don't know, seeing what PGMO comes up with the end, because there's question marks over everything now, because that throws into discussion about everything about offside. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's question marks with PGMO. I think Howard Webb is trying to do a good job, but I don't think he's being helped whatsoever by the poor refereeing and poor
the officiating
standards of refereeing.
Like nosedive this year compared to even like last year was bad. Like this year seems to have gotten worse.
It's gone worse, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so bad this year, even with VAR. If the officiating on the pitch was bad, the officiating at VAR is even worse.
The referees on the pitch don't want to make any decisions. It feels like because they're too scared or something. Like the standards of refereeing has because let's be honest, yesterday's game, that referee had no control, because there was moments where there was loads of elbows thrown in, etc. But he didn't deal with them. So what? Are we allowing elbows now? Because in other scenarios, if you remember, if elbow goes up, it's a straight red. So,
but this is what I also don't understand yet. If your eyes are fixated on the ball, and your focus is on headering the ball, surely the player, because this happened yesterday with Pedro Porro and Robertson. Porro's eyes were on Robertson the whole time when he went up for that header, when Robert went up for that header. So you can see that the intent wasn't to play the ball. The intent was to go into the man.
Go into the man, yeah.
Then Robert got the yellow card. It doesn't make sense to me.
No. Even the other one, like the Diaz on Romero. Because Diaz literally goes in with the elbow. Now, surely if you're going like this, you're not going to jump up.
You're jumping, your elbow's going over.
If you're jumping, you're doing that. But if you're going like that across, then it's different. But again, the referee didn't even call it. What? The VAR's meant to call it. No, come on. It's silly, because in other games you'll see the same situation, either getting yellow, even red carded, worse.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there's too much inconsistency. So I think when you go back to that West Ham game, it's one of those where there's been two other incidents already in the Prem where they've not given the penalty for similar handballs.
Cam, there's been more statements than points won by Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield United put together. So let's just say that.
Yeah, well, that's not surprising
And
considering.
it's only been 7 game weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Considering some of the decisions that have been going on in the Premier League at the moment, are you surprised with the amount of statements I have to, like, just yesterday? I'm surprised there's not about 3 different statements that's come out about the game with the red cards and the offsides. You know what I mean?
Absolute joke.
It's too much. It's
Yeah.
too much. That's what I'm saying. So Luton, again, if they can keep that confidence up and they can, now they're showing that they can finish and they're showing that grit, you know, that tenacity, then maybe they can go on and to win certain games. You know, those teams fighting for relegation or the mid-table club games, those might be the games where even at home, if they can just win those, they can get over the line, stay in the Premier League. You know, get that.
I mean, we just need to be better than 3 teams. That's it. Like we are now at the moment. That's it.
Let's hope it's Everton going down. Yeah, if it's not Luton.
do you know, like me and Adi have been like dying for Everton to go down for God knows how long. But we have obviously
3 years in a row now
because of Liverpool reason. But we actually genuinely, because we think there's a serious issue with Everton, but they'll find a way to get out anyways.
Yeah, this one saying they find a way, and it just pisses me off.
That's why I'm not even gonna say Everton, because they'll get out.
I just want them out, man.
But yeah, quick note before we finish up. I mean, brilliant win by Aston Villa. I mean, what did you make of it? If you look at the expected goal ratio, it was pretty much the same. But Watkins and Aston Villa were just...
It was one of those where I think it seems that there's a bit more luck on Villa's side. I'm not talking about decisions and VAR. I'm talking about just somehow the shots were ending up at the back of the net.
Yeah.
You know, and with Brighton, they just weren't as clinical. You know, there was chances where it's not like them. Usually they would be much better in front of goal.
They made the wrong decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no better with the final ball, better with just being in around the box. And I think it was just one of those just poor games from Brighton. And I mean, they're showing a bit more of that this season than they did last year. But Villa, give credit to them, you know, all over the pitch, they were so solid, man. Going forward, I mean, Watkins hat-trick, you could say that the second goal seemed a bit like he scuffed it, but still went in. You know what I mean? Like, he showed that he's got that quality, you know, to lead the line.
But this is what I was going to say. Like, going to Villa Park, I think even for the top teams like Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, it's going to be hard because they're a good team. And on the counter now, they've got enough speed and enough, what would I say, clinicalness to actually rip teams apart, because they've obviously shown it with this game. Because Brighton's are no mugs. Brighton probably one of the best.
That's what I'm saying. It was,
and they're keeping the ball.
Like, just Diaby and Douglas, they're them two itself. They're big, they're strong, and they're fast. I mean, like, if you can't get the ball off of them in strength, you definitely ain't getting the ball off them in speed, because they're just so good at holding the ball and running with it. But yeah, Villa, I think they showed their class. Like I said, I think they were a bit luckier in some instances. Like even with the own goal, there were just certain instances where I think the game got lost for Brighton, you know, early on, and it was a long way back for them, you know, if they were trying to get back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, they were 3-0 down after 26 minutes, so it's
it was one of those where they just
maybe they should have just shut up shop, and instead of going and losing 6-1, they should have just
But that's not their style. They would obviously try and come back into the game.
For you. You're either gonna get battered or it's gonna go out. It's not gonna change his way.
But you've lost either way, innit? Whether it's 6-1, 3-0. But
also, it makes me question. Like, I don't know. He started at 18-year-old. I know that's what they do. But again, I mean, you have enough players on the bench to bring on. You signed Carlos Baleba to replace Caicedo. Then put him in, or you still got Mohamed Dawood in there that you could have played, because in the midfield they got overrun physically. They look good on the ball, but I mean those midfielders were always gonna do that, and De Zerbi should have known better. But yeah, great result for Aston Villa. I mean, they've moved up to 4th now.
I think the main thing is, I think when it comes to Brighton is, I think they try and bed players in at the right time, and then they're also trying to develop players at the same time. But sometimes you have to find that balance, because you are playing in the Premier League. You know, you're not playing a friendly match. You're not playing an exhibition here and there.
No.
So you need to try and field your strongest team.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
it.
and you
I think
can't
it's
always think about
balance
the
too much
project.
between the European game and this, and that's
Yeah.
On that note, thank you for joining today, Cam. Adil, we do hope that you turn up. We do miss.
We've not missed you. No.
Yeah. we do miss you on the podcast, but you seem to be missing like your team. So we'll see you soon. For those of you watching, please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Sooner than Adil, probably. Thank you.